Okay, so let's get going here and let me tighten this up a little. Here we go. And so I don't know, I didn't measure that, but that's probably about, oh, maybe about 18, 20 inches of wire. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna feed this wire through, and I'm not so concerned about having too much here, so it's probably 3, 4 inches, something like that. It's more of this piece right here. I want this long piece to work with, so I can just figure out what I'm gonna do. So I am gonna go ahead and start by bending both of my wires. So that's what we have, okay? And I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna kind of try to press this front wire down a little more here. And let me see. Let's go kind of down like this. And we'll do one little wrap around the short stem here. So we've got that. Make sure that's centered there. Okay, so that's what I have here. Okay, and now I think I'm gonna just kind of go down and I'm gonna wrap. I wanna wrap cleanly though. That's just what my vibe is at the moment. I'm gonna do clean wraps. Sorry guys, I've got you in so tight and I've got wire flinging everywhere. And I'm just gonna keep traveling down towards the pendant here. And around we go. And it almost looks like cone shaped on the side there. That's really, really cool. And oh, that looks so pretty. Let's go more like that. And I'm gonna grab this wire and try to tuck it underneath those wraps. Let's do that. So let's come around, and then I'm gonna kind of go around like this, guys. And then I'm gonna rotate my plier and keep coming around with the wire a second time. And I'm gonna pull my plier out and put it back in right here. And then I'm just gonna keep following the tool with the wire to come all the way back around. So I've gone around twice now. Okay, and let's just keep that in there, and then we will wrap that up. Okay, so I'm gonna just wrap this until it meets, or about right there. And we'll trim that in the back. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Make sure that's tucked in. Okay, and now what we have for our bail, okay, is, well, first of all, I need to turn it the right way. So let's do that. Okay, and so we can split this now. And it could be a little bit separated on the cord. We can absolutely do this. And just little small like motions here. So you can have like a split looking bail, right? Something like that. So you could do something like that. Or you could keep it together, right? And again, I did a wingspan of my cording. And so what I want to do is first go ahead and thread on my pendant. Okay, so that's my center. Okay, and let's move the beads out of the way. Okay, and so what I was thinking I would do is perhaps maybe put a 6mm rondelle. So I'm going to put my makeshift needle right here through my cording. And this is just going to make life a whole lot easier for me as I go along to get these beads on. So we'll just put that right through the needle and then get it on the cord. And I can get rid of the needle, get it on my other side of the cord. Can you see why these makeshift needles, guys, are going to be really great for a project like this? Because you don't have to keep threading it off and on. You can just pop it off and on, basically. Okay, and now I'm going to grab my tails, marry them up, and let's get our center. Make sure that I'm pretty well centered here. Pretty good. Okay. And now I'm thinking, yeah, I think that looks pretty. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to make an overhand knot right here. I'm holding that other side to keep it as centered as I can get it. And so I kind of don't lose my center here. And I'm going to go in right here and pull. And now I can let go because now I know where my center is. Even though that just moved, I already established my center. We'll see how good I did. We're just going to do an overhand knot here. And this is going to be a pretty cool knotting project pretty much the whole way until we add the leather. And then I think maybe we'll do some barrel knots. I think so. And so I'm just doing one knot right there. And that's what I have to get started. I will zoom in. So that's how I started that out. Rondelle. Now, of course, you know, if you wanted to, you could absolutely, you know, prepare your cord properly. But this works. This works too. Okay, and another knot. And now I'm gonna kind of take a look and see. So I just come up with my pattern and I repeated it on both sides. Now I did do 2.5 inch gap here, right? But you could have knotted that all the way up if you wanted. I didn't want it to be too heavy. And I just wanted the pop of white. And it's like, do you see what I mean now? The vibe I was going for, guys, it's minimalist and a little boho whimsy. It's kind of boho chic, right? Because we've got this, first of all, the purity of the white jade, but also just that metal. That metal gives it a little chic, right? But it's very boho. And you could absolutely wear this, you know, dressed up or dressed down. I truly think you could. It really, you know, match your outfit up to your vibe with a necklace like this and show you a cool little trick. If you haven't seen it before, then we shall do it together right now. Let me get you real tight in here. Okay. So again, you can skip this step, but I just think it looks really pretty at the top of the necklace. I just think it looks, well, this is not quite the top, but it's about, you know, this like this whole section is going to be like the collarbone to the back of the neck. So this is getting pretty high up where it's really drawing the eye. And if you notice, what's happening here is I'm trying to like make a tension to that leather and then draw the eye down here, right, with this metal. So, you know, it's like the eye will naturally look up here, and then the middle just kind of is so cohesive and blends effortlessly. And so that's why I chose to do that fun barrel knot. So let me show you what I did. So I just have a very small, you don't need much, but don't short yourself. So this is a 10-inch piece, okay, of white leather. It's 1.5 millimeter, okay? And, you know, it is new out of the package and it needs to breathe, to relax. So it's very stiff right now, okay? And I have a little piece of a straw. If you have a barrel tube for barrel knots, same concept. And what I'm going to do, guys, here is I am going to simply put my, do I have you in close? Yeah. Okay. So we are going to put our straw right over where that knot is. And I did finish both sides up with a double knot right here. You could do one knot. It was just my preference. Okay. So we're going to lay this. So we're going to pick up the side here. Okay. And we're going to lay the straw right over here. Okay. And whether it's touching or not, this is preferable because we want our barrel knot to be tight, right? But if you want to be here and push your barrel knot down, you can do that too. Okay, so I just try to go right up against my bead. I'm gonna just lay that straw right on top of the knotting cord, okay? And then I'll put this piece of leather with a little bit of a tail to my left here, right over the top. Okay, and I'm gonna do 6 rotations. So we are going to just focus now on this leather, okay? And so we're gonna go under, okay? And we're gonna move to the left. So there is 1, and now there's 2. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay? And when I came around for my 6th time here, what I'm gonna do is I'm holding, do you see how I'm holding the knots, the barrels, excuse me, on my straw? And you see how far it traveled away from my white jade down here? I'm gonna pull the knotting cord. I'm just pulling the knotting cord to push myself down here more. Just makes it easier. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I am going to come around, don't let go of your barrels, and coming around that 6th time, I'm gonna grab that tail that I've been going around with and put it through my straw. And then again, continuing to hold those barrels, do not let them go. Okay, we are gonna pull that tail that's coming through the straw, and out the straw comes. Okay, now this is where I am going to trying to show you with my fingers on the way is a challenge, but I'm going to do my best here, guys. So I'm just going to take either tail of this leather here, right? Here's a tail and here's a tail. And while holding those barrels, I'm going to pull these tails, right? So I'm wanting to pull them tight, but I'm trying to get them right up against that bead. So I can now I'm holding on my left here. With the right hand, I am basically holding both of these tails over here, and I'm just kind of turning clockwise, right? And tightening up that leather. And then I'm gonna pull it again. And I'm just gonna keep pulling both of these tails. And it's like a push and pull type of situation. And then I can just keep going round and round and get those nice and tight. And I'm just attempting to get over that knot and right up against that jade is my goal here, right? So we want to push and pull, but also be over that knot. So that's a little bulky there. I probably should have done a single knot, but that's okay. We will make it look decent. Okay, and we're just gonna kind of tighten up those barrel knots. And we have this right here is our knotting cord, right? So it's nice and tight. I have no play there, okay? And I'm just trying to get this a little tighter up against, because you can see where my knot is right there from the knotting cord. I'm just kind of trying to get that over that a little bit. And I'm just wanting to make it look pretty, basically, because like I was just saying and showing you on the other side, it's just basically, an embellishment. It's decorative. It doesn't serve any purpose. This particular barrel knot serves no purpose. It is actually decorative on this particular design. And so I think that's pretty good and tight, okay? And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to grab my Loctite gel control. Let me get you out a little. And I'm done with my straw. And I'm gonna grab some really good flush cutters. And we are gonna trim away, watch the knotting cord, but we are gonna trim very flush the leather on both sides. Okay, and then we'll grab some glue and we will put that dab right there. And then I'm gonna go to this side and put a dab right there. Are you coming out? Yeah, you are. Okay. I'm just gonna dab that glue right inside that. Should keep that barrel knot good. Let me get my glue back together here. Okay. All right, and so there we go. And I'll pull you out. And that's all nice and tidy. And now we just can measure, and we can turn that barrel knot around to be facing the back, by the way. That's kind of what I did over on this side and this side. So the back of the knot is facing the back, and now I'm going to measure, and we will put some hardware on here. And all I really need to do is, this is a closed jump ring, right? And then we have a lobster. And, you can grab another jump ring if you want, but I'm just going to knot right directly to my lobster and directly to the closed jump ring as well. So I'm just eliminating hardware, and it's just preference. So I'm going to go. Okay, so it does need to go to the 12. Okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and put my cording through, and I'm just going to do a couple overhand knots here. Okay, that's about right. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so I'm just gonna tie a couple overhand knots here. And you can do 2, 3, whatever you want. I'm gonna do 2. That's good for me. I'm going to flush cut. Now, guys, here's another fun design element here, just to give you guys some ideas. You could leave some space here, like maybe an inch or 2 here, and cut it here. Let me grab my scissors. And put some dangles. You could absolutely do that. That would be really pretty. So it'll weigh it down in the back too, right? So that would be pretty. Absolutely do that. Pretty good. And again, just a couple of overhand knots. And then, of course, you can glue or you can singe. I'm going to singe today. That's my vibe. And so again, I am going to go ahead, grab my scissors, and I'm going to cut that pretty close. And I'm going to cut that pretty close as well. And then we'll grab a lighter and singe, or a thread burner. Either one, tomato. And let's singe. And so I'll pull you in if you're new to knotting or singeing. Okay, that's actually a little bit too much of a tail there. I need to be a little tighter there. And we'll just make sure we have all of our skin out of the way. And we'll just make that like that. And that hardens that up. And we should be good. Why do I feel like I just lost my knot? Because I almost did. Okay. That was weird. Let me get you where you need to be here so I can singe you. I'm not going through that again. I'm making you once. This beauty is a one and done. Okay, so let's cinch that really well. Very good. And same thing over here. Where is my thread? Oh, it came undone because I cut it too close. Ha ha. Okay, well, then in that case, I shall not make the same mistake again. That's what happened there, I see. Okay, so I won't cut it as close. And let's singe it. We might be needing to also add some glue here for some added security. I feel like we do. It might be whatever this coating is on this particular cord. Although I love it though. It's beautiful cording. Very beautiful to work with. I'm not doing this again, guys. I'm not going through this again. Therefore, I'm gonna put a dab of glue right there. And that'll dry clear. And I'm gonna put a dab of glue right there. And that'll dry clear and pretty quick here, about 10 seconds it'll dry, and then it'll cure in about a day. And there we go. Let me get this cleaned up. And I hope you guys enjoyed my first project inspired by some multiple trends. So not just the color of the year, but how lucky are we, my friends? How lucky are we that when my bag came out in November, this particular bag, how lucky are we that it had a ton of white in it? And how would we know that they would pick that for the color of the year? Well, we didn't know because they just recently announced it. So I love that we are able to go back to my sleigh ride bag and grab a ton of that white. And man, what a beautiful necklace. That is so pretty, you guys. It's just, gosh, the camera almost does, I just don't think does it justice. I'll take some photos of it, and I will also link in the description for you any of these bag extras that I have left, and I think I have quite a bit of this in the store. So I hope you guys enjoyed a fun knotting project and our first Pantone Color of the Year inspiration necklace. We'll see you in the next one, friends. Be blessed.